And I'm going to hand this over to our guest speaker today. His name is Levitt, and he is going to take the lead from here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Levitt, and I'm talking today to provide thoughts and perspective on one person's life with dyslexia, to share some lessons learned that can be used as a guide to live each day with meaning and purpose that can lead to a rewarding future, to share some of the experiences I had as a child, young boy, teenager, and young adult that have shaped the person I am today. SN and SC will get a glimpse of how my past has been strong stepping stones to where I am today. The view of life is about being all you can be, not what you're not and not what you'll never be. And that I've never viewed having dyslexia as having a disability. Although there are days where I feel challenged by my dyslexia, it is a part of who I am, just like the teeth in my mouth that I've had since childhood. As a 23-year-old adult, I'm at the point in my young life where I've learned many lessons that I could never have seen when I was 10, 15, 18, 8 years old, even younger than that. And I'm here to share how my experiences with dyslexia shaped the adult that I am today. And I'll share some valuable lessons that I've learned about myself that could possibly help everybody else. To tell the story of how I went from not being able to read a word in a book to becoming a self-published author. So, Tavel, Si, Imene, Yim, I. For those who couldn't understand what I just said, which should be everyone, that was, hi, my name is Levitt. I'm someone who grew up learning they had dyslexia, feeling like they had no control over it, and I was put in this very specific box, only to then overcome my challenges. Today, I want to talk about who I am, the struggles I've had, how I overcame them, and what I've done since being diagnosed with a learning disability. So let's start with my dyslexia. When I was in 4th grade, I went to a specialist, and it was there that I learned I was different. I'd always known I was different from everyone else, but that meeting where I had to read words, play with blocks, do math problems really made me understand how different I was from everyone else. When everyone in class was tasked with doing math homework or reading, I would go home and play piano or enter my imaginary universe where I'd swing around lightsabers because I was so fascinated with Star Wars and still am today. But even in class, when everyone was writing in notebooks, I was writing and learning how to formulate like A's and B's in a sand pit just to show the level of where the 4th graders are at versus where I was at. And I would frequently get upset at myself for not understanding mathematical formulas like my fellow classmates or not being able to read as fast as them. But my anger turned into more of drive because I wanted to reach their level, if not show that I could be not better, I'd say, but do something to help unlock hidden potential within myself. I ended up transferring to a school for students with learning disabilities in 5th grade. Socially, I was still in contact with my friends from my previous school, but academically, this new school was a better fit for me. In no time, I was reading at the same grade level, which I could not do before, and I developed writing techniques that made my writing legible and I still use today. I was able to understand math more clearly as the way the teachers taught fit my learning style and fit the style that I was developing for myself. I learned other lifelong important skills, such as being able to advocate for myself and to not give up. I feel that advocating is one of the most important things anyone can do because no question is stupid. And questions are questions. If you don't understand something, you should always want to ask so that you show that others that you're trying to be attentive, but also that you are learning and showing that you are unlocking new knowledge that you will use in the future. While I was sitting around my literacy class after finishing work in 6th grade, I started writing the original manuscript for my book that I finished this past year. So now let's fast forward to college. I just finished a semester abroad at Marist College when COVID hit the United States. I was going into my 2nd semester of my junior year when all of us were sent home. While being at home, I decided that this would be the best time to organize myself for life after college, as I knew I would be living at home for a little bit, but I knew I wanted to get a job and work in an office. As I began cleaning out my room, I found the notebook from 6th grade. I began writing out the story from the notebook in a Google Drive document after my Zoom classes ended. Then throughout the summer, I spent every day writing and editing chapters. The final copy of my book is 324 pages, and this is something I never believed to be possible as a student with dyslexia. Completing this book proves that even with a hurdle like dyslexia, if you're really passionate about something, then go for it. And here's a little background about my book. So it's about one man searches for his past while another searches for ways to change his past. The Tale of Light and Darkness follows the saga of these two flawed characters. The son, a young boy who loses his memory, is told that he is the key to leading the universe to a more peaceful age, and Hoshek, a wayward man deprived of his dreams, wants to go back in time to fix his catastrophic mistake that transforms the universe into utter darkness. This coming of age story is filled with themes of loss, family, retribution, the want for a better life, and many other heart-wrenching questions that characters must answer in order to find their true selves. Yeah, so another key big part of the book is destiny. And instead of having your destiny be told to you by others, it's about shaping your own destiny, becoming who you are. And that whole key concept really spoke to me as a kid. Being put in the box of having learning disability, I was always trying to figure out who I was, who I am, and who I'm meant to be. Because there are people who are going to tell you, oh, go do this, oh, go do that. And you might not want to do those things, or you might feel struggled in such a way that you can't learn in the way that a teacher is teaching you. So you have to come up with your own ways of learning, or learn in such a way that your parents are telling you, oh, you can go do this. And you always want to listen to your parents, but it might not make sense at that time. So you try to like fumble around with the words and figure out the best way for you to learn and for you to grow. And I think that shaping yourself is the best way that you can do that. Nobody's going to tell you who you are, what you can do, and make you truly understand that from their perspective. You have to come up with your own answer through your perspective. So I hope everyone has enjoyed reading my story. If you've read it, it's online, and have been inspired to do something you love, even if it seems daunting or impossible, because that's what life is about. It's about taking those challenges and breaking them down into ways you can really solve your problems. And I'm not here to tell you how you can solve your problems. I can be here to help guide you. I love speaking to fellow people with learning disabilities who have struggled in a way that I don't know, but I can understand only because I've struggled in my own way. And I'm always available to chat if anyone has questions. Thank you for having me and listening to my story. And I'd like to leave you by saying, don't be scared to ask your parents, your mentors, and your friends questions. If you don't understand something, the best thing to do is ask for guidance. You want to be able to solve problems, not drift down a rabbit hole, getting more and more confused since you didn't feel comfortable asking. And if you're interested in purchasing my book, if it spoke to you, my website link I can leave in the Zoom chat, or I can email it to someone who can share it with everyone. And if you guys had any questions, you can ask them now. I'm an open book about dealing with learning disabilities and stuff like that. So, yeah.
So do we have any questions for Levitt? Does anyone want to raise their hand and ask a question? Looks like Frank, go ahead. You can unmute.
It's more sort of like a comment, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to have a disability, because for me, I have stress and anxiety. It's like trying to push a boulder up a hill while dragging weights behind you. Am I right?
Are you stating that having a disability is like pushing up a boulder while having weights behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It is very daunting and difficult to feel like you're so different from everyone else and you're the only one dealing with your inner and exterior challenges. And so, yeah, it is like pushing a boulder up a hill while feeling chained down, but there are ways to solve handling that boulder. Maybe you have a hammer and a nail and you can break down the boulder and then push it up in pieces. You know, there are different solutions and strategies you can come up with in order to really shape the boulder into something that's movable up the hill. But I totally understand because I've been in the position where pushing a huge boulder is very difficult up a hill mentally. I wouldn't say physically because I've never done that before, but definitely mentally and inward.
Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me say that.
Yeah, no problem.
Is there anyone else that would like to say something? Any questions? Katie, is that your raising your hand, Katie? Go ahead. You can unmute, Katie.
I was wondering if you've ever had struggles with feeling really frustrated because things are so much harder for you than some other people, and how you dealt with that.
Yeah, so I definitely have felt that way throughout my life, and I will probably continue to feel that way as I'm in the working world because everybody works differently. And I think once you come to terms with that, everybody's different, you're not the only one that's different, everyone is struggling with something. You just know what you're struggling with, and you're able to ask for guidance, ask for advice, ask for help without knowing that someone's going to do something for you. It's more of they're going to give you the tools to help you come up with strategies to succeed. Once you really like understand and internalize that, you start to feel better. I say you'd start to just know that there are people that are here for you and not there to pull you down.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I really think we need more neurodivergent therapists that know what we're going through.
Yeah.
Kate, do you have a question, Kate? It looks like your hand
raised. Is there any assistive technology that you use to help you read or to get along with your daily life now?
Yeah, so I used, it's either Google Read and Write or Adobe Read and Write. It was one of those two programs. I used that for a little bit in college, but I've always been the type of person that like really asks a professor, asks a teacher, asks a parent, like anytime I'm not only just struggling, but have a question that can be broken down in order to help me solve the problem. So the only assisted technology would be Google Read and Write that I've used. Everything else has been more like word of mouth asking and then solving my problems either with the assistance of someone or by being given words that I can use to then solve the problem by myself.
Okay, thank you.
So Hannah, is your hand raised, Hannah?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, how did you experience in college, like one of like your classes and like how they teach your classes, like when I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, if are you asking about like support in a way for like homework and papers and such, or are you just saying like in the physical classroom, how did I go about handling my disability with others around me?
Yeah, I meant like physical way.
Okay, yeah, so I had accommodations, certain accommodations that fit my learning style with going into school. So I was allowed a laptop because my handwriting is something that only I can really read, which is kind of a bummer. but I understand it, so I totally get it. So I was allowed a computer to take notes, and I would have to share my notes at the end of class with my professor, so they know that I wasn't just doing nothing on my computer, but actually taking notes. And then I had a special advisor that I could go to with questions about like specific papers and specific speeches that I had to give or various homeworks. And they'd help me outline it because it was more of a time management issue I was having than writing down and coming up with the words to say for the paper. So I do that after class, but all of class I would just have my computer and like vigorously be typing and taking notes, because if I missed a word when the professor was lecturing, that could mess up my entire note document. So really, like, there was a fault of me not paying attention necessarily in class because I wasn't paying attention to how the professor was speaking. I was only paying attention to what the professor was saying so I could review it later to better understand the paper presentation assignment for later. Hopefully that was a good enough answer.
I think that was great. Anna, do you have your hand raised? Do you have a question?
Oh, yeah. So the name of my book, I see that as a question over there, is To the Tale of Light and Darkness. I actually left the link to my website where I talk about myself as a motivational speaker, someone with dyslexia, and then also the book in the Zoom chat. So you can see it there. I can also email it out. I guess I don't know how that would really work, but yeah, that's the website on the phone.
Yeah, that's great. And I can also email our list of participants your website as well.
Thank you. And
is there any other questions?
I think there is someone that has like the hand.
Yeah, that's symbol. Anna. Anna, did you have your hand raised? Anna, did you have a question, or was it an accident? Let's see. It could have been an accident. Michael, do you have a question? Do you have any questions?
Yes.
So this is Levitt.
Levitt.
And he was the author that spoke, and he was speaking about his book that he wrote. And he has dyslexia, and he's gone through, he wrote a book. Did you have any questions that maybe you wanted to ask him about?
Yeah, I like to.
Okay. What would you like to say, Ed?
Must have been pretty difficult, right?
Yeah. Was it difficult or hard?
Oh.
Was it difficult or hard to grow up with dyslexia or to write the book per se?
Book.
Oh, yeah. It took a lot of sleepless nights of just pouring out ideas onto a page and then making them actual sentences and then editing them grammatically. So like there was definitely a 3-step process per each day and night of writing, because I kind of write in a way where it's just my stream of consciousness. Like everything I'm thinking about, I'll write down, and then I'll have to organize it and make it coherent so it's English and it makes sense, which is a lot of reading and a lot of bad reading because I was not the best writer. I've only grown since writing it. So I would really have to understand grammatically where a comma went, how a sentence needs to end, all of these skills that I felt like I should have learned as a younger adult or as a child, but really wasn't paying attention in those classes because I was struggling with reading as a whole. So like all of the struggles I've went through and continue to go through are only building the character that I am now as a writer.
That's awesome. All right, I have a question for you. Do you plan on writing another book?
Yeah, so I actually have already written the sequel, but I'm editing it now, and it's taking a long time because, again, the whole stream of consciousness process. But I have plans for this to be a sort of trilogy of novels, and then I'm working on more like visual media, so like a graphic novel. I've had the opportunity to partner with an artist because I'm not that good at drawing. That's another one of my not so strong suits, but I'm good at telling a story. So there's a good partnership within that. But yes, I am continuing along my author journey.
Awesome. That is so awesome. So Kitty, do you have any questions there with Molly or yourself?
Well, what resonates with me the most, and I say this every day, is people that struggle recognize struggle in other people. So I think all of us can say that we've struggled in one area of our lives, and I feel like that does make us more open and compassionate to other people's struggles, no matter what they are. So I love that you were talking about that point.
Yeah, I think it's important to know, like, everybody has something that they're going through. You're not the only one, because not only is that helpful to the other person who's like thinking down on themselves, but that's helpful for you to not be down in the dirt or gloomy, because everybody's different and it's okay to be different.
Molly, are you raising your hand, honey? Would you want to say something?
Yes, I sure speak. I said it about I don't know. I mean, about stories about whales, a monster.
She's pretty much saying how much she liked the story. Yeah.
Awesome. And Ed, you have one more question? We have one more question here for you.
Okay.
How many days, how many weekends you got to learn?
How many weeks did it take to write the book?
Learn.
To learn how to do it?
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to learn how to write your book?
I would say a lifetime, and that I'm still learning how to do it would be the answer, because I'm only starting that journey, that adventure now. But I have definitely utilized all of the various writing techniques that I've come up with and strategies that I've come up with for myself since being in college. So the past 4 years, and even in high school, so 4 years before that. And I came up with the idea in 6th grade. So yeah, I have a notebook that's probably 3 pages long of this weird, fantastical, magical, ethical idea that doesn't really make much sense because it's from a 6th grader with dyslexia, but I was able to kind of decode it and write it in a way that other people can understand. So I've been sitting on it, not really knowing it existed until quarantine, but then being stuck at home, kind of that gave me a purpose in order to do something. Instead of watching Netflix all day or just sitting and looking at the ceiling, I was writing and creating a universe that I could see myself in.
I love that. Well, this is, oh, Katie, yep.
Well, the other thing I loved is what you talked to Frank about when he was talking about pushing a boulder up a hill, which I can't even imagine, but you were sort of talking about ways to overcome that, ways to make the boulder smaller. And I thought that I never thought of it that way. That was insight. Thank you.
No problem. Anytime.
So this is our last call for questions. If anyone has a question, go ahead and raise their hands or type it in the chat if you'd like. Everyone good?
Oh, one more question.
Oh, Katie, yep. Go ahead, Katie.
Well, it's more of a comment. I just wanted to say that, you know, I really admire how confident you are, and it's inspirational for me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I think it's important to just like take a deep breath, you know, breathe, inhale, exhale, and let everything in and out, and then you'll be fine and you'll go about your life the way you see fit. the way that you wanted it to go, and you'll learn along that journey and along that path. And I think it's important to have people that I would say understand and that are there for you, to help guide you. But at the end of the day, it comes down to how much you want to succeed and persevere. So I think it's important to almost like lead by example.
Do a good job of that.
Yeah, thank you.
And Frank, I see your hand just went up. Do you have a comment or a question?
Yeah, I think that was pretty awesome that you were able to write your own book.
Thank you.
I think it was fantastic.
I like that, Frank. You're fantastic.
I got that from when I was at camp.
All right. So Anna, I see that your hand is still raised. Do you have a question or no? You're muted. Can you unmute?
I don't think Annie has a question. She just got her hand up. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Well, Levitt, I want to say thank you so much for coming and joining us and being a guest speaker for us today. I think it was really great. I think we learned a lot from you. And I would like to say thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, everyone want to give Levitt a thumbs up?
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Levitt.
Bye.
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 Bye. Adios.
So, Kitty, do you want to? We have about a few minutes. We could read one of the books.
You guys want me to read a book?
I would love it.
I'll see you guys later.
Wait a minute, no, don't go. Let us sing happy birthday to you first. Everybody unmute. Rachel, everybody unmute. Jesse, Annie. Okay, we're gonna sing happy birthday to Frank. He had a birthday, 31st